Hey everybody, this is the Britta Filter. Welcome. My name is, as always, Britta, and today we're going to be talking about, drumroll, public transport. This is a big reveal. I know I said last week it's going to be a surprise, so I hope you're excited that I chose public transport. So yeah, it's Friday, and I have yet to make a video this week, so I would be really disappointed if I've been doing really well every single week, so here we are. But yeah, obligatory disclaimer, construction, it's still there. So I'm not sure if you guys can actually even hear it, but I can hear it. So I feel like I should tell you. So I'm going to be talking about the railway, so the trains. I'm going to be talking about buses. I'm going to be talking about trams. I'm going to be talking about ferries, my favorite part. And then also just via bicycle and via foot. Good old feet, pedestrians. So yeah, let's get started. The rails is going to be throughout Sweden. The others is going to be a little bit more specific towards Stockholm because that's where I live. So I'm more familiar with that. But I have been to Gothenburg, so I can tell you a little bit about that. And as always, I will do some links in the description to some of the websites that I've been looking up for research. I'm actually, like, look at this, you guys. I actually wrote some notes. This is the most organized I've ever been for any of these. So, let's go. Let's get started. Like I said, rails. That was the first thing. So, trains. I get really excited about trains because I'm from the US, and if you are also from the US, then you know that we have, like, no passenger trains. We have some, but it's, you know, it's not common. So it's really fun. I mean, in my hometown in northern rural Michigan, we had one passenger train that functioned once a year. And I don't even think this still happens. So it doesn't even function once a year. But it was like a nostalgic ride where you could go and get on and go like out 5 kilometers, maybe not even that, and then come back. And that was your ride, just to say you've been on a train. So that's where I'm coming from. But anyway, I love having a railway in the country because we don't have a car. So this is our main means of transport. Now, I will say I haven't gone much via train. I actually haven't discovered that much of Sweden yet, which shame on me. I'm really excited to, though. I'm going to do it. But that's really nice to have that option. And it's pretty cheap. I mean, in comparison to gas prices here, which makes traveling by car much more expensive. I mean, you can get to a lot more places, of course, as always, via a car, but it is nice to have a public transport option. So in Sweden, they have a Swedish railway, and that's more commonly known as SJ, and they have 4 different types of services. So they have a high-speed train, which, like, I've never taken because I guess it's more expensive. So I'm really frugal. So I always go for the cheapest option or the student option, but I can't do that anymore because I turned 26. So there we go. But they do have the high-speed train. I don't think it's like anything in comparison. Well, no, I know it's not anything in comparison to like high-speed trains in Japan, but you know, they're faster than the normal average train. And then they have intercity, I think that's what it's called. Let me check. Yes, intercity, which is like medium to longish journeys via train, which is normal speed. And then they have regional and commuter trains. So that would be functioning like within Stockholm's region, like outside of the city, to the further out towns that surround Stockholm. And then they also have a night train. So I think there's only one from what I read. I've never taken it, but yeah, they do offer that. So there you go. But it's mainly the 3. So the high speed, the intercity, and the regional trains that most people will take. So that's how that works. That's state owned, but it's not a monopoly. So there's other trains as well. So privately owned trains. I've actually taken, there's one called MTR Express. I've taken that because it was super cheap. So that's what I took. And then there's also other ones as well. I'll try to pronounce them, but yeah, it's not going to be great. There's the Tåg Kompaniet. Yep, I said that it wasn't going to be great. Tåg is train. So I can say that, but the other part I didn't do so well. There's the snälltåget, and then there's the inlandsbanan. So those are some of the others. I think that there's probably more, but those are the main ones that I found when I was looking those up. Like I said, there's actually one website that I found that was really helpful in terms of trains in particular. So I will definitely include that link. But yeah, that's as much as I'm going to talk about trains because that's all I really know. Those, of course, you have to buy the tickets online separately. It's fairly simple, fairly straightforward. It's like anything, any public transport. It's like buying a plane ticket. So yeah, I definitely recommend the trains. They're a great way to get around. Now I will shift to, well, I will add a note of buses as well. You can take buses pretty far and around the country as well. It's actually cheaper, but it's slower, of course, because you're taking a bus versus a train. I've never not taken a bus anywhere. I've only taken a train when I went over to Gothenburg in the middle of the country. So I haven't actually taken a bus yet, but I do know that a lot of people do take buses as well. So that's an option. So with that said, I'm going to switch over to more of regional public transport and more specifically Stockholm public transport. So in Stockholm, the public transport is called SL, and you'll see SL quite often, and you'll know that that's any sort of public transport. Now, with SL, you can take the bus, you can take the metro, so the subway, you can take the trams, the tram line, and you can also take the ferry. My favorite part. I love the ferry. So one thing about SL and about Stockholm transport is that you need to have one of these. They love technology, they love cards, so yeah. This is the SL card or the access card, and these cost 20 SEK. And then all you have to do is top it up with money. So there's a few ways that you can do that. You can do it like via journey, like a single journey, or you can do a few journeys. If you're a tourist and you're just here visiting, you can get like 24-hour, 72-hour passes, and that's really handy. But you can also get monthly passes and yearly passes. For me, I do a certain amount of journeys, and I just use that because I actually don't use the metro that often, or public transport in general that often. But yeah, it's definitely something that you need to have. If you're visiting here, I know that it's possible to get around. You can get like the travel cards or whatever. But if you live here, like, you need to get this. So I'll talk about buses first. The bus system is really nice. I love it. I also might be slightly biased because I came from Ireland, and when I was living in Dublin, the bus, like Dublin bus, was like, it was horrendous. It was the worst thing ever. So I went from zero to hero when I came here because the bus system is really nice here. You'll find blue buses and you'll find red buses, and they run on varying frequencies. The blue buses, I think, run more often than the red buses. But they're everywhere. Most of the bus stops have a sign that will show how long until the bus comes. You can also click on a little button that will talk to you and tell you how long. So that's really handy. I've actually never used it, but I've seen people use it, and I'm like, that's nice. So one thing that you'll notice when you go into the buses is that everybody has one of these, or they have their phone or something that they can use to tap. So when you go onto a bus, you do, like, I say hello to the bus driver, but nothing else. You cannot buy a ticket on the bus. It's wonderful. It might be kind of a pain if you've never been here before and you tried to buy a ticket for the first time and they're like, sorry, they have no cash, they have no machine to take a card, so you have to have a prepaid ticket. I do know that you can, like, there's an SL app you can get on your phone and you can buy tickets there, and you can either show, or there's another little, I think, green reader that you can put your phone up to. I've never used that before. I just used my SL card. So, but yeah, I know that you can technically use your phone as well. But you can buy these little guys in some of the stores, like convenience stores, or you can buy them. I always buy mine, well, not always. I bought mine in the metro station. So on the subway station, there's a person that would always be there to help. So that's how I bought mine. But then afterwards, then they have kiosks and you can just fill your card up there. So that's how I normally fill mine up. Yeah, it's really handy. It's really convenient. For a single ticket, like a single journey, it's 75 minutes. So no matter what type of public transport you're taking, whether it's bus or whether it's metro, then you can use, like, you won't be charged again within that 75-minute period. So that's how that works. And that's how the buses are. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You also, the two things that I'll add about the buses, if you go in there, if there is an open row, then sit there. Do not sit next to somebody. It makes Swedes feel uncomfortable. I mean, if the bus is full and there's only seats next to other people, then take it. But if there's a seat that you can possibly take that's not next to another person, you take it. And then number 2, you exit through the back. I think that that's just standard. I would think it's standard, but in Dublin, that was not standard. I didn't even, like, sometimes the bus driver didn't even, like, well, lots of times the bus driver didn't even open up the back. So you couldn't trust that you'd be able to get off the bus if you were in the back. So you had people coming out and people coming in at the same time. So definitely exit out the back. Sometimes there's little buttons that you have to press in order to open up the door. But that's all you really have to know about buses. Now, they do have the metro, so there's the subway and Stockholm. Now, it will be called the tunnelbana. So if you ever hear that, or you see that, or you read that, they're talking about the subway. So the subway is, it's really nice. Like I said, I don't really use it that often. But in the metro, there's the normal subway, and then there's the pendeltåg. So that's like the commuter rail, but it doesn't go as far out as like the SJ might. So we actually have the pendeltåg station is closest to where we live. So if we do take any sort of, like, if we do take the metro, lots of times we'll take the pendeltåg. But yeah, it's the same deal where you use your SL card, you just tap it, and then you go, and then you can ride any of the lines. It goes out pretty far, so it's really nice and really handy, and you can make it quite a ways with the metro. I know that in Sweden, like, the Stockholm is the only place with the metro, but it is really handy to have and to have access to. Yeah, I mean, other than that, it's just a metro, it's a subway. I didn't have that growing up, so everything to me is like, ooh, shiny. But it's really straightforward. It's probably one of the easiest metros you'll go into. Most of the time, if you go in there, there's a sign that says, like, it will gray out where it's not going, and then it will have in bold, like, where it is going. So it's kind of hard to get on the wrong subway, but it's possible. Like anything, it's possible. And then they also have trams. So these are the trams above ground. They have one that's around the Sundbyberg area in Stockholm, and then there's also one that rides in the city center. I've taken them a few times because you can get to Djurgården, which is a big touristy spot, and it's fun. It's fun to ride on the old tram. So they do have that. It's the same with the SL card. So you just tap it. The tapping is outside the station though. So you tap it before you get on. That's a good thing to keep in mind. And then we have and also Gothenburg. Gothenburg has, I know I said I was going to talk a little bit about other places. Gothenburg doesn't have a metro, but it has buses and it has tram, lots of trams. So if you go to Gothenburg, then definitely take advantage of the trams. But now we're going to skip over to my favorite, ferries. I love ferries. And I love the fact that, like, I mean, it's not extensive. It's not like you can take any boat anywhere with your SL card. But there are a few ferries that you can take in Stockholm and in Gothenburg that you can use with your public transport card. And I love it. It's so awesome. It's so much fun. That's like literally when my mom came here and visited, we got public transport cards, which we walked a lot, but she wanted to get one and I wanted to get one in order to take her on the ferry. We actually rode a lot on the ferry, but it's a lot of fun and it's nice. You can hop actually from Gamla stan, which is in the city center, to Djurgården, which is the touristy place, and you can take the ferry there. So, I mean, I've never used the ferry in terms of like actually getting somewhere I needed to go, like work or school or something like that. But I do take it when, you know, if we're on Djurgården and we're just going to Skansen or doing something else, a museum or something there. It's really nice to just take the ferry, because then you can just go hop right over to Gamlestan and then you're closer to the city center. So especially if you're a tourist and you just want to like ride a ferry because you like boats, like me, then definitely like don't miss out on that, because they don't really advertise it that much. Like on the SL website, it doesn't really talk that much about ferries. It does have a PDF map version of where it goes, but it doesn't like really break it down in terms of like, this is something that you have access to, so you might miss it. And I love that. Like, that's one of my favorite parts. So yeah, that's how the public transport system works. And it's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to talk too much about it because, I mean, it's kind of something you just have to experience. Just knowing, number one, the SL card, or if you're in another place, they'll have something similar. So like Gothenburg would have their own version of SL that you can use on the trams and the buses and the ferries. But I mean, it's just learning how it works and learning, you know, you'll get into your groove of the places that you go and how to use it. But the other important things I wanted to talk about in terms of transport is like what you can do with just your body, like a bike or like walking or like running, but we'll stick to walking and biking. One thing I will forever commend Sweden for, and a lot of European countries, is their accessibility via bike or via foot. It is so nice. In Stockholm, I can get anywhere with bike. Everything is like, normally you have your own little bike path that's separated from the road. If you are on the road, then you have your own like shoulder. You have your own lights. You have like when you want to turn to the left, then I mean everything is really well planned out. It's so nice. I love taking my bike. I ride my bike everywhere. I feel really safe. I did not feel like that in Dublin. I know that a lot of people rode bikes. I probably could have and it would have been fine, but I was always just nervous because people are crazy. But here I feel super safe. I love riding my bike everywhere. Walking, you can get anywhere. I mean, there's like bike highways and walking highways everywhere. It's awesome. I know that some places in the US have that as well, but it's few and far between. Most of the time, like if you're riding your bike, you'll just get dirty looks because the car is like, I have to slow down for you. So I love it. I love everything about it. Like I said, I don't take the metro. I don't take the public transport that often. So I spend most of my time walking or biking. It's doable. You can get most places really fast. In peak hour, you can get faster on a bike, so definitely recommend. But yeah, I think that that's really all I'm going to talk about. If you have any questions specifically in terms of public transport or how to get around, then let me know. Give me a shout. But otherwise, I'll keep it at that. I mean, it's relatively affordable. It's a little bit pricey. I mean, for one single ticket, in terms of a single journey for 75 minutes, it's like 37 SEK, so almost €4. And then, but like monthly, if you get a monthly card, that's around €90, $90. That's not too bad. It was around the same. It was actually a little bit over in Dublin. So it's not too bad in terms of monthly costs, but for single journeys, it's a little bit pricey. So I try to take advantage of it, or like if I'm really tired that day or something, I'll use these. But I normally, you know, I'll use this once a month, if that. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind, is if you're trying to be, if you have to be really frugal, then it might be on a little bit of a pricey side, but you know, it's doable as long as you have a pretty okay job. Then, you know, paying for public transport. I know some jobs even pay for the public transport, so you wouldn't even have to pay for it, but living the dream. So yeah, I hope that this was helpful. Like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. But otherwise, thanks for watching. And next week, I think I'm actually going to be talking about a little bit more about healthcare. So I hope to see you then. And yeah, have a wonderful weekend. I hope to get this uploaded tonight. It's Friday today. My goal is by tonight, but it takes a long time to download. But yeah, enjoy your weekend. Vi ses. Hej då.